I think I opened up about 415 or 20 Hampton Inns. I went to every backwater, back-ass city where you would think that they could put a Hampton. If there was a gas station on an exit in an interstate, where a Walmart was, or a university, they were putting a Hampton there. And sometimes doing their sales and marketing was as simple as saying, do you have a billboard going north and one going south? I got to see a lot of things change in our industry. Today, when you stay at a hotel, most hotels you go to are going to provide, what, a complimentary breakfast, and it's typically a full cook-to-order or a hot breakfast, you know, chafing dishes filled with eggs and sausages and bacons. So Hampton Inn was revolutionary that we did provide a breakfast, but our breakfast consisted of donuts, bagels, maybe we would open a can of fruit, but that was top of the line for you know, what we call limited service or select service hotels back then. When I left Hampton, when I moved over to another brand, Hampton was doing eggs, bacon, sausage. When I was opening up Hamptons in 1994, our average daily rate was about $59, $60. Hampton Inn's daily rate today, on average, is $124. The building hasn't changed. There's still a lot of those Hamptons that were built then that are still open today. But what's changed is the things they put in the hotel rooms. So at limited service hotels today, you get the free breakfast. Chances are you're going to get free Wi-Fi. You're going to get, you know, daily housekeeping, which you know, is something that in extended stay hotels you don't necessarily have to get. We just upped the game. We changed the things that were important in the guest room. Hilton bought Promise in 1999 or the year 2000, and so with Hilton came a big frequent guest program, but also came a lot of innovation. So we put big screen TVs in our hotel rooms. We jumped in on the bedding wars. So in about 2003, 2004, the Westin chain came out with what they call the Heavenly Bed. And they still have the Heavenly Bed today. But customers started talking about those beds. And, you know, interestingly enough, hotels companies had paid a lot of attention to everything in the room except the bed. And so everybody jumped into these bed wars where everybody had to have, you know, the tall mattresses and box springs, and now it's actually gone the other way. Now they're getting away from box springs. They're just putting mattresses on platforms. We've downgraded the type of sheets that are in there today. There was a time when the higher the thread count, the better. Well, you only need anywhere from 500 to 600 thread count. Anything more than that, it's going to be hot, right? Because thread count is how many crosshatches there are in a square inch on your sheet. So if you think about it, if I've got 1,200 thread count, right, there's not a lot of room in that square inch to breathe. And so maybe you like to be warm under your sheets. Most people like to be cool. We created new heating and air conditioning elements. There was a time, and we're in a state of our business right now, there was a time when you would travel and you would go to a hotel, the things in that hotel were nicer than you had at home. That's not really the case so much anymore, and it's harder to do that because, you know, home living has changed. Everybody, for the most part, has a bigger screen TV. Most people have access to Wi-Fi in their homes. And so if you think about it, you're probably getting anywhere from 50 to 75 megabytes per second for you and whoever lives in that house. So you got a big pipe full of data just streaming into your machines. And so you've become accustomed to a certain speed when you're downloading or doing whatever sort of work you need to do. You get to a hotel And they may have that same size pipe, but there's 150 rooms trying to squeeze out of that Wi-Fi. So that's become the new biggest expense for hotel operators is bandwidth and making sure that they have enough for their guests. Because I know all of you, when you go to a place, one of the first things you do is, what's the Wi-Fi password? How can I get in? Right? And then you have expectations of speed. And so one of the first things you notice is, wow, this is really slow. And if I'm paying $145 a night and I've got really slow Wi-Fi, I'm not happy. And everybody uses the Wi-Fi. Today, the average business traveler travels with 3 devices, 3 Wi-Fi sucking devices, whether it's a laptop, a phone, or 2 phones. 3 devices that are all just consuming bandwidth. And then you've got those people who, you know, are downloading movies, or they brought their Slingbox with them. We've got gamers. We've got people who decide they're going to go to dinner but leave their internet connection up, and you know, so it's a big challenge for our industry today. The 2 biggest challenges that we're facing in our industry is customer service and keeping up with all this technology, right? And how much technology is enough and who wants it. So today, at any of the major chains, whether it's Hilton, Marriott, IHG, all of you, if you're a member of their frequent guest program, you can, on your phone, you can check in on your phone. Your phone is your room key. You can order food before you get to the hotel on your phone. You do not have to talk to a human being unless you absolutely want to. That's where hospitality is going. You'll be able to control the heat, the entertainment in the room, your TV, all of it via your phone. That is where it's going. And that's great, right? Some people dig that. But we've still got a significant amount of the traveling population who are over 50, right? You all maybe have grandparents or something. Have you ever watched your grandparents use a smartphone? It's painful. It's painful. And so we still have to maintain the traditional ways we serve our guests, because that age group is traveling a lot. And they're not early adopters. They're not watching TikTok, right? So I'm in Memphis. I've been running around the country for 5 or 6 years, and we opened up a new brand. And it's called Hampton Inn and Suites. So it's a hybrid of Homewood and Hampton Inn. And so they put me in charge of that brand, and I get to run that brand and support that brand for a couple of years. I build a support organization for them. Then after doing that, I move over back to Homewood Suites and get to build the support organization for Homewood Suites, where I enjoyed, it was probably my happiest time in my career, because I got to put together a team that I always looked at as kind of like the League of America. So I brought people on board who had superpowers in areas where I didn't. And I would hire people based on what I thought and what I was told through data and other research that our hotels needed supported. So I had people who were really strong in revenue management, I had customer service gurus, I had sales and revenue generation people, and they would I felt like Nick Fury. Right? I had the best team, I had the best job in that company, and I did that, and we had a tremendous amount of success. Our brand was winning J.D. Power awards. We were changing the way support models were set up. It was just a glorious time. But I was there for 20 years, and after 20 years, I was like, you know, I've traveled all over the place. I'm not getting tapped on the shoulder to be the chief executive officer at Hilton, and so it was time to do something else. And I'd seen a lot of people coming out of hospitality programs and hotel schools, and they were coming out ill-prepared for the work. They had a lot of theoretical knowledge, but they didn't know what to expect when it came to the work. Folks were coming out of school and they thought they were ready to be a general manager because they had a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. And without that experience, so I'm here to tell you that if you're interested in the hotel industry or hospitality, go and work in it. Go see if you like it, because you know what? You're young enough. If you don't, you can do something else. But I'm also here to tell you that if you don't want a job where you're doing the same thing every day, the hotel industry, the hospitality industry, you're gonna be doing something different every day. You're not gonna be chained to a desk. You're gonna see all kinds of people. You're gonna deal with all kinds of people. You're gonna be a problem solver extraordinaire. And there's nothing more rewarding than when you've solved somebody's problem while they're away from home, because there's a different level of anxiety that happens. And it's awfully nice to be, you know, that weighted blanket for them, right? It's awfully nice to be that. You can make good money in this business. It just takes a little while longer. So when you graduate and you hear your friends who are in accounting or some other major, and they're talking about that they're making, you know, 75, 80 grand right out of the box, that's not gonna happen in hospitality. That's not going to happen. But you can get there, and you can get even further than that. There's a lot of areas you can go. Hotel management, hotel development, training, tons of places where you can go.